Thank you, Austin. Please help me welcome our main speaker tonight, Sandy.
Stand up here, huh? Hi, everybody. My name is Sandy, and I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date is November 5th, 2017. And that means I just celebrated 8 years of sobriety. Super crazy. How I got here, a little bit of where it's like I actually lived up in this area for quite some time, and that was when I moved up here. I was working in bars, and my daughter's father decided to move us from St. Pete to up here, New Port Richey, Holiday area, to get away from the bars and strip clubs. Joke's on you. We ended up moving smack dab in Holiday, and there was legit 3 within drive drunk distance. Literally. One I think I could walk to, honestly. And that was it was a lot different because it was a different type of club than it was down here in St. Pete, a little more covered and such, and a lot more liquor up here. And that really set my drinking plans into full-on go mode. I have a friend of mine here that I've known for 20 years from back when I lived up here, and it's awesome to see you. But anyways, I kind of lost it quite. Bar hopping, I remember bar crawls, and going to my friend's. She was a bartender, I was a bartender, dancer, cocktail, whatever it was, at a different club that I would go to. I remember going up there because I had gotten fired. You can get fired from a adult entertainment club. You can. Multiple times. This one particular day, I had gotten fired from 3 in one day. In one day, I had gone and got crazy blacked out and misbehaved quite badly. And I did not realize, but they had fired me, told me to leave, and I was barred. And so like the next day or 2 probably after that, I had gotten up, like I was ready to go to work the next day, grab my bag, I'm going, I get there, and he was like, yeah, no, you don't work here anymore. And then after I threw a kind of a little fit, and you can't fire me, look at where we're at. He was like, you're fired and barred, so I need you to leave. So I was like, that's fine. I went to the next one. The managers I knew were friends, but I didn't really think that they knew what had happened the night prior or the 2 nights prior. So I go to the next one and thinking that it's just fine. I'm like, hey, I'm here. He says, hey, I ain't seen you in a while. And I'm like, I was over there and now I'm over here. Here I am. And he was like, didn't you just leave? So he had called that manager and was like, so-and-so, did you just blow her off? Like, he says, and told him the story. And Frank comes walking out the office. He was like, yeah, no, I can't let you work here anymore either. And I was like, what? And I tried to explain my side of what happened was. And he didn't care. He told me to kick rocks. So now I've been fired from 2 in one day. And I'm like, well, so I go see my friend, have a couple drinks with her before I move on to the next one. Because I was a hopper. I worked at all of them. And so I had a couple drinks with her and told her the story. How could they do that to you, to me? Story of my life. But so I had gone, had a couple drinks. We went, and I was like, all right, well, I'm off to job number 3. Let's see what's going on here. And I go up there, and I'm really good friends with the manager and the owner there. And so I had kind of went in, and I told Brian, I'm like, guess what had happened? We laughed about it. He was like, you're fine. Go get dressed out. You're fine. He's like, you'll probably have to stay a little bit later because you're like 3 hours late. But that's fine. He was like, you're good. You know you always got a home here. I'm like, perfect. So I doing the thing. We go up and set the music. I go down. I'm in the dressing room now, counting money. Like, yes, I got him. And Brian comes walking in with his head down. He was like, Sandy, he said my other name, but he says, he's like, he was like, so Marty there was a sister club down in Holiday, and the place that I was up in Hudson was sister club. They had the same owner, but different management. He was like, yeah, so Marty just called. And I was like, oh. He was like, apparently I had almost ran him over because he was cutting me off and said, you can't drive. And a couple profanities later, I'm fine, I'm driving. He comes out the back way to stop me in my Cadillac. I'm in my Cadillac, I'm going. And he goes to stop me, and I revved, and I missed it. He's pretty quick for an old guy. But I did not run him over. And so then this was like 8 months prior. And I told Brian, I was like, he's still mad about that? He was like, yeah, he said you tried to run him over. And I was like, no, that's not how that happened. He was like, but either way, he saw you on cameras, and you're not allowed to work here either. And I was like, huh. So I got the trifecta, huh? And he was like, yeah, so I have to escort you out. And he's watching the cameras to make sure I do. And I was like, huh. And you would think that's a bottom. But no, it was not. It had a little trap door down there. And so I'm like, well, looks like I'm not working today. I show back up. And my friend's Varna, she's like, what happened? And I kind of explained to her, and I was like, I don't even understand why he's still mad. That happened so long ago, and it's not like I actually hit him. But like I said, I'm so delusional, I don't see anything of this. I still don't think that's a problem. I still think I'm untouchable. I have bondsmans on speed dial. I have biker friends that would stop what they're doing and just for general purposes, just come get me out of a pinch if I needed it. My brother was a 1%er. And I still thought I was untouchable and I walked like I was. I may be 5'3". 5 foot nothing. But on my license it says 5'1". But anyway, so I may be this, but I walked tall. I walked like I had no fear, and nobody could mess with me, and I'll just take another one of whatever he's having, and then I'll take my shots. And a lot of the places I frequented knew exactly what I was drinking before as soon as I walk in, they would have my turkey and ginger right there. And whatever, it seemed whatever Sandy wanted, Sandy got. And I took that and I ran a little bit farther with that. I had gotten myself mixed up with some even scarier people. Drugs is not a big part of my story, but I did marry the dealer. And as I was going to show him how to do it right. You can't be doing your own stuff. You're not going to make any money that way. Until I started doing some of it. So there was some getting loaded in my story, but like I said, it was always king alcohol. I always ran back to alcohol. Alcohol was always there. It was always so easy. And I remember getting shuffled into ambulances because I was getting alcohol poisoned. I remember another time, my Lisa over here, she got me out of said ambulance and put me in a friend's truck, said, no, she's fine. She'll sleep it off. She's fine. And they dropped me off at home, kind of pour me into the house, and then lock the door and then go about their ways. I remember waking up probably the next day from that incident, and just my whole body was just on fire. A couple bottles of whiskey will probably do that. And I remember just, it was so fire, and I just wanted something cold. So I go in my freezer, I stumble, still hammered, and I got a pint of ice cream and a beer. And I'm eating the ice cream and drinking the beer, and still alcohol poisoned. I should not even be walking, talking, or any of the things that I thought I was getting away with. And I remember calling her, being like, well, what happened and what's going, and she was at hotels. And I was like, I'm on my way. She was like, no, you're not. To stay home. And I was like, it's fine. I'm already halfway there. Nobody could tell me no. Nobody could tell me calm down. Nobody could tell me you have a problem. Everybody could see it except for me. I ended up marrying that drug dealer in that bondsman's office that I had on speed dial because I had gotten bonded out of jail by this gentleman. And when we went to go sign the paperwork, before we had left, though, we did have that plan. It wasn't like a spur-of-the-moment marriage thing. It's like a day or two. Not so spur, but quite moment. So when we were going to go sign the bondsman's paperwork, and we were like, well, he can marry us too, right? And he was like, that's a great idea. So we signed the paperwork, and then we signed the marriage license, and there's pictures of us, wedding pictures at the bondsman's office with the sign behind us. So proud, so proud. And it's funny because I do come up here once in a while, not a lot, but when I do come up, I laugh because I'm like, oh, I set my car on fire over there. I did that over there. And I was actually telling the story. When I was driving somewhere, I was going to one of the clubhouses and smoking a cigarette. And I was actually the annoying girl with the fuzzy steering wheel covers and seats and console. So that and a cigarette, I just kind of tossed it into the ashtray and left to go meet the bikers to go start getting hammered. And we always hear the commotion, the fire ambulances and everything over here. And we're like, what's going on? What's going on? We all run to go see the nurse. Some idiot set their car on fire. Whose car? And my brother happened to have been there. He was like, hey, Sandy, isn't that your car? And I was like, ooh, no. He was like, that's your car. I know that Toyota anywhere. He was like, the seat covers. I see the seat covers from here. And they're on fire. And I was like, and there was other illegal things in said cars. So I was not going to go like, no, stop, it's mine. I just was like, there's that. I was like, and then I was made fun of for probably still, actually, honestly. I haven't talked to my brother about that in a while, but recently he has brought that up and laughs at the idiot who sets their own car on fire and goes to the bar and just is drinking. It's on fire out there. And we're like, well, there's that. I'll take 2 more of those shots. Because I'm going to outdrink this huge gentleman named Hammer because I'm going to drink more beer than him, and I could fit 2 of me inside of him. But that's what I was going to do. And it didn't change. It just kept getting lower and lower and lower and lower. And, it got to where I did end up moving back down to St. Pete to actually get away from all of the insanity that I decided to stay in and play around with and touch the hot stove or the hot car or whatever else I could that was going to hurt. And so I had come down here and did the plans of calming down. This is going to calm me down a bit. I had come down here with my daughter and her father, and we lived together for a little bit. But that was when I had already met and married and divorced the drug dealer. And I had come down to seek solace with some family to get my shit together. which I did not get my shit together. I hear Morgan Freeman in the background. She did not get it together. I did end up meeting a nice guy, the nice guy. Went back to school and got a culinary degree, but this nice guy was my enabler for life. He did not want me to work, mainly because he did not want me working in the clubs and the bars anymore, because he says, you can't drive home, so I can't let you take my car. I remember we had the Doodlebot bus. Remember the Doodlebot bus? That was the only car he'd let me drive, because it was a tank, a big old Chevy van. And I would not be able to drive that home. And I was still working. I would still take that 45-minute drive to one of the dance clubs to work in. And I'm not drinking today. I'm not going to drink today. And about 20 minutes after walking in, there's a drink in front of me, and I'm just drinking it with no recourse. Like I didn't even remember saying, we're not drinking today. And so he would have to drive all the way from Clearwater to Hudson to come get my drunk self. And he was not happy. So we had put me in school because I wanted to be a chef. And that was going to change me, get me out of that industry and cooking. Well, chefs are a bunch of drunks too. We could drink online, we can drink at work, we could drink after work, and it's so allowed. Like we would even have like back areas outside where there was a little cooler that the cooks would keep their beers and, you know, smoking cigarettes and whatever else out there. And I did end up getting out of the bar industry, but you could take me out of anywhere and put me somewhere else and you still have a drunk. You still have someone whose life is 100% unmanageable. I am living off this man who wanted to marry me, and he was probably one of the nicest guys I've probably ever, even as of today, just anything and everything I would have needed. If it was going to make me happy, he would make sure I had it. But that usually ended up being a case of beer and a bottle of Jack or something in the freezer as well. So I'm doing school. I'm going to school, and I'm drinking and studying and drinking and studying. I passed and graduated by the skin of my teeth. I don't even know exactly. I mean, I did because I did enjoy cooking. So that was my saving grace on that, to be able to cook and enjoy going to work and it not being a club or a bar. And that made boyfriend happy. And we were going to get married, and he wanted babies. And I did not want babies. I have a child. I have a 28-year-old and a 22-year-old. She'll be 22 Wednesday. So 10 years earlier, I was like, no, my kids are older. I'm not doing that again. You know, and that just ended up being like a push and a pull between me and him. And there was a couple times like I would be completely hammered at home, and I would wake up knowing that he did not use the protection that we were using. And I got furious. I was like, why would you do that? Why would you? He says, because I want a baby. And I'm like, you want one. I was so mad. I hated him at that point because I felt taken advantage of. I was tricked. You know, I knew, and I had told him hands down, this is not how this is going to happen. I was like, you want a baby? Go have one. Go have one. I mean, you can have one with somebody else and I'll still be here. I'm just not having another child. But that he seemed to just still, for the next probably couple years, would always try to just talk me into it. And I was not having it. And then after that time that I had known that he had tricked me, that was when I think I had even gone over to Lisa's, and I was like, I can't be with him anymore. But I can't not be with him because what am I going to do? I have no job, nothing, I'm kind of trapped. So it turned into I'm just using him. And I was cheating on him. I was going out all for days on a bender, crashing over there. I think I peed in your bed one time too, didn't I? When the people who have been around a long time are in the audience, things that I don't usually say up here come out. But yeah, because didn't want to go home, but I couldn't not go home either eventually. It's peed in a lot of beds, a lot of closets. Nothing was safe. But can't believe I just said that. I'm so sorry. I prayed before we came up here, so either talk to your sponsor or your higher power. I'm not even in it. So, okay. So, anyways, not getting sidetracked. It was just reckless, leaving jobs, and I remember I had gotten hired at the Waffle House on Tarpon Springs in Tarpon 19, and I was going to cook there. And I was hired. I got the job. All I had to do was go because I needed work shoes. And that was why I couldn't go to work. I don't have work shoes. So fiance, went and bought me shoes. And they were at the Payless, right down the road from there. He's like, just, shoes are already paid for. They're sitting at the counter. Just go pick them up and then come home. I did not pick up said shoes. I did go on a 3-day bender. I did not go to Waffle House. I did not go home. Ended up with some scary bikers and right in my element. I was like, this is so much better than work. And he was so mad. T-Rex was so mad. He was like, all you had to do was just go get those shoes and go to work. He's like, I haven't even seen or heard from you in 3 days. And I'm a good BSer. I'm real good at that. I sell a blind man glasses, and he'll tell you how good he looks. So somehow I knew, and I was driving, and I was going home because there's no place else to. It was time. It was time to go home. I was sobering up. And I pull up and I'm bracing myself for the lecture because I already know what's coming. And I'm trying to think of things to say to make him not mad anymore, which there was nothing I could have said. Although, so he's yelling at me, I'm yelling back. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm an alcoholic. And that wasn't my last day drinking by means, but that was the first time I had said I'm an alcoholic, not joking in a bar, not, of course I'm drinking still, I'm an alcoholic. I would say it just like, easy, I have pink hair, I'm an alcoholic. It didn't change anything, but that day I was like, well, I don't know, and I slammed my hands down, I was like, I don't know what you want me to do, I'm an alcoholic. He's like, well, go to a meeting or something. And I was like, whoa. No, we're not doing that. I'm not that alcoholic. And here I am, that alcoholic. So he had said he was going off, and something had come out, so I was like, John. I was like, listen, I am mad enough at myself. I don't need you to be mad at me too. And somehow that ended the argument. I was like, ooh, all right. And actually I think we talked and laughed about it. He even went to work because his boss's wife was in the program. So he would vent to his boss about me. And so he told his boss what I had said to him. And he says, oh yeah, you should probably go to an Al-Anon meeting. And he says, but that's still funny. So they made fun of him for weeks after that. Like when he would be yelling he was a construction worker. And they'd be like, John, we're mad enough at ourselves. We don't need you to be mad at us too. And then he's just like, why did I say anything to you guys? But I look back and I'm just like, I had to come up with anything just to get out of trouble. How many times I got pulled over, come up with just about anything. 3 DUIs I couldn't get out of, though. The last DUI was we were in Clearwater. I was leaving Gators, and I had my shift drink, which was just Jack Daniels and ice. And I'm driving out, and we're going, and I'm heading back to John's house, because now I moved back in with him because I've lost my place. My daughter's now staying at her dad's. My son is staying at his dad's. And I'm quite homeless. So I go running back to T-Rex, and I'm going up there, and I'm pulling out of the 7-Eleven, and I'm driving down Gulf Boulevard, heading to his house, and no headlights. And I didn't realize there was no headlights because there were so many lights I could see. You just couldn't see me, apparently. So I immediately getting pulled over, knowing I'm going to jail. Believe it, I've been driving on a suspended license, too. But I was going to jail. I knew I was going to jail, so I call him and I tell him exactly where I'm at and to get here ASAP so you can get me out of this. Well, he had no intentions of getting me out of that. But he did have intentions of making sure the car didn't get towed, thankfully. And so I do get arrested. I do get that third DUI. That DUI does turn into a felony. I do have a lot more consequences. The first DUI, I didn't have too many consequences. I had just got pretty much the 6 months minimum, everything. Somehow completed the probation. But that first DUI, because I know so much, I decided to represent myself. Because I'm a lawyer too. But thankfully, I think I might have even been seeing a lawyer, but that didn't make me a lawyer. And that actually kind of helped me get that third felony downgraded from a felony to a misdemeanor because it didn't get thrown out. It just didn't get counted against me because I didn't have any representation. And I was like, see, I did know something. I did not. But, that did make the consequence. I did still have to do jail time. They sentenced me to 10 days. I got out in 6. I don't think I really ever was in jail for longer than a day or 2. And that would probably be because, the bondsman that I had on speed dial, that would signature bond me out. But somehow my higher power must have been watching out for me because I did not end up doing very much jail time, and I definitely should have. Some of the things I thought I was getting away with. And, it just wasn't cute. But anyway, so third DUI, I'm still drinking. Because I did come to a realization, though, that I can't drink and drive anymore. So I'm just going to stop driving. We sold the car and I bought a bicycle so I could continue drinking the way I wanted. But you can't get a DUI on a bicycle, right? No, you can. You can. I did not, though. I did get out of that. I almost did. So just going and the story doesn't change. It's rinse, repeat, get drunk, get in and out of hospitals, I can't even tell you how many times I got alcohol poisoned. It came to where I think I had split up for good with the boyfriend, although he was still coming around and dropping beer off for me when I needed it. I was working at a restaurant called Bob Evans as a line cook, and I had met this girl, Robin. And she was in another fellowship and clean for a little over a year. I did not believe her because she was nauseatingly happy all the time. All the time. I was like, there's no way. And she would say to me, she would just plant little seeds. She never pushed it on me. But she knew I didn't drive and I needed rides places. So she would tell me little things like, you don't have to feel like this. You don't have to keep that bottle in your locker. And I'm like, yeah, well, today I do. So I would need a ride to the store or to wherever. And she was like, yeah, I'll take you, but we're going to go to this meeting first. And a couple times I was like, I don't need to go that bad. We're good. But a couple times I knew, and I would tell her, I'm like, you do know the store that you're taking me to. I'm buying booze. And she said something that still rings to me today. She says, I don't care what you do after the meeting. Can you not drink for 1 hour? And I was like, sure. And it's about 8 months of her planting that seed, taking me places, and then going to that clubhouse, the AA clubhouse this time. Or actually it was NA, my bad. But she would take me there, and I got little seeds planted. I got little nuggets of all of these other people are happy. They can't all be, I couldn't believe that everybody in this room was sober. There was no way. They were all happy, and I was miserable. I was completely miserable. And I had ended up getting in trouble at work and getting suspended. And I just was like, fine. I mean, I did try to talk my way out of it, and I'd tell the manager, I'm going to those meetings with Robin, so I'm trying. And he'd give me another chance, and then I'd sneak out to the wing house across the street, do a couple shots, come on back to work. Until there was I forget what had happened at work. I think I had broke something, or something had happened with the fryer because I was hammered and such a better cook when I was hammered. He had suspended me. He was like, you're fired, this is fired. He says, I have to talk to my bosses in order just to keep the suspension. So my suggestion to you is get with her and get your butt to those meetings and do it seriously this time. And I was like, you got it. I'm serious. I was not serious. This is Morgan Freeman. She was not serious. He said, but I went home. I picked up some beer on my way home, and I stayed in my house for about 2 weeks. I had had people bring me alcohol because I was too weak to even leave the house to go walk to the store to get it. But I could not physically not drink. I could not live without it. And I come to see that is that unmanageability that we talk about in step 1, where I couldn't see myself without a drink, and I couldn't see myself with one either. Well, after you're drinking like that for so long, your organs start shutting down. You can't pee. You're turning yellow. My son's father would come check on me. And I told him, I was like, well, if you're coming by to check on me, bring beer. He says, no, I'm coming to check on you, but I'm not bringing you alcohol. I've been told that all you're doing is hiding in your house and drinking, because he'd been talking to Robin. So he had come by and had a key to the house, and comes in, and I am swollen and yellow, and he tricked me into getting into the car and took me to the hospital. And at that hospital, the doctors had told me, like they had so many times before, if you continue drinking, you're going to die. And I says, well, if I don't drink, I'm going to die as well. And that I had known. And apparently that makes you an alcoholic. But I had known that I couldn't without it, and I couldn't with it. And this time it was, and I could feel, and I seen my body was completely yellow. And I couldn't even get from the bed to the wheelchair to go run these tests that they were putting me through. And so they're wheeling the whole bed to the different places for me to take certain different whatever tests, because they knew my organs were shutting down, and they were telling me, we're watching you die. I still didn't see it. I still did not see that until my son, who was very, very worried, 17, I believe, at the time, 16 or 17, and driving. And he had come up to the hospital to check on me because he was worried. And he had come around the corner just as I was coming around the corner from one of the tests. And he had saw me. We caught eyes, and his face just dropped, and it turned white. And he was looking at me as if he was looking at his mother already dead. And I had only known that look because when he was 3 months old, I had walked in on my mother overdosed on the couch or the floor. And I can imagine that was the same look that I had when I saw my mother. And right then and there, I knew that I could never drink again because I can't let him see me. I can't let him see me in a casket. And I could see in his eyes that that's what he was looking at. And so he had gotten me back to the room, and I looked at his dad. I was like, some profanity. And I was like, I don't think I can ever drink again. And he was like, I don't think you can either. And he was like, what can I do? And I was like, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything you can do. I was like, but if you call Robin, I know she knows how to stay sober. And he did, and they did end up releasing me a couple days later. That would have been November 6th or 7th, I think. And Robin met me at the house with her NA textbook in hand. And I didn't realize that she was basically taking me through the steps, 1, 2, 3, and actually 4 and 5 right there that day. She had already been letting me know that you're powerless. And I'm like, are you kidding? I am so powerful. And I look back now, and I was like, I was not only 12-step, but she legit put me through all 12 steps. Because by the time I had 4 months, sober, clean, whatever they called it over there, I had met this lady, Danita. And she had explained to me that, we do service work here. She was like, I go into West Care Women's every Sunday night. And I had known, I had heard of the H&I, but I was only sober 3 or 4 months at the time. She was like, you can come in, but you can't talk. And I was like, I don't want to talk anyways. And now you can't shut me up. Look at that. So she had brought me in to West Care Women's with her that first Sunday. And that's actually where I met my Maggie Boo. And I had sat there and just listened to the girls share. I didn't talk. We would bring speakers in. We had an Ask It basket, and I would sneak stuff in because I had questions, but I can't ask about them. And but what had got me with the service work was at the very end, because there was good 20, 30 girls in there at one point in time. And all the girls, we had stood up to say the Serenity Prayer. And when those girls all said that in unison, I felt the power of just hope. And I was like, all of these girls are sober? She says, they're trying to get sober, just like you. And I was like, I had left there on such a cloud. I was like, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. She was like, slow down. You got to do it for just at least another 6 months. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it, and then we're going to find another one and another one. And I stayed with that West Care because that was such a powerful feeling that I had gotten listening to those girls in unison say that prayer. And I had a feeling come over like I had never felt before. And that skyrocketed my sobriety. I was still using the group as a higher power, using Robin, Miss Danita. There was people. People were my higher powers because I had that childhood God and actually it was so many different. I had Lutheran with my dad, Presbyterian. I think we were Catholic down here with my mother's side. I didn't know what to believe. And that God, any of those gods are the ones that took my mom away when my son was only 3 months old. So I didn't think he wanted anything to do with me either. So I had played around in the other fellowship, not played around. All I was doing was going to meetings and not drinking and doing that Sunday night West Care Women's. And that West Care Women's, I can know for sure at least 5 times that I was on the phone with someone inviting me to go out drinking. And I was like, and it's a Saturday night, Friday night. And I'm like, I can't. I got to go see the girls Sunday. I didn't even realize that was how that was happening, because service work keeping me sober. I didn't even but it was. There was many, many times I can't go out. I got Sunday. And Robin had, since drugs was not a big part of my story, and I had no idea with a lot of the things that they were saying, the drugs this way, and you can do it this way, and then that way, and shots. I'm like, yeah, wait, no. Oh, no. I was like, I had no idea. I think I tried to fit in. I was like, yeah, I did that once. They were like, no, you didn't. And I was like, yes, I did. I did do it once. I just didn't like it. Thankfully, I didn't like it. I think Lisa might have got me out of a couple of those scrapes as well. But I had, what was it? Yeah, drugs wasn't a big part. So when I was trying to fit in and talk about how I tried this once and I did that, Robin is like, let's try taking you to an AA meeting. Let's see if this works better for you. Because I couldn't find a sponsor that I related with, mainly because I was just clutching on so hard with Robin, honestly. So she had brought me to Monday Night Speakers, literally dropped me off, said, make friends, you'll get home. Literally. I did make friends. I did get home. And when I got to that meeting, the greeters, I didn't realize greeters are at meetings either, because the other meetings I was going to didn't really do that. They would just go in and sit down. But I just felt the warm welcoming, and I was home. I was like, as soon as I had walked into that meeting, I was like, this is going to help. I still thought that I was my own higher power, mind you, but I knew this was going to help. And that is when I had met my sponsor and my grand sponsor, who came out as well. And I had asked my sponsor to sponsor me, and then I was introduced to a sponsorship family. There was probably about 15 ladies just engulfed me. Her sponsors, her sponsees, it was aunts and cousins and sisters, and I was like, whoa, okay, all right. And I had just borrowed their higher power, because I had questions about the higher power thing. I'm like, I don't understand it and how he's going to help. And so Miss Pat says, well, you can borrow mine. He's big enough. And so I did. And she said, and I was like, I don't know how to pray. She was like, just pray, it'll happen. She's like, just pray to my God. So I would. Every morning I'd be like, all right, Miss Pat's God, please help me stay sober today. Help me not break anybody's, help me not hurt anybody today. And help me stay sober. And that was working for me. That was working right up until it wasn't. I had lost a job. I quit a job very ungracefully with just about a year sober. And I was going to drink. I was walking across that street from the restaurant, and I was going to go to that gas station. I was going to drink. I could taste it. I could feel the can in my hands. And the door, the beer cooler door, wouldn't open. And I'm kicking on it, trying to get the door open. It's not locked. It's the middle of the day. They don't lock that in the middle of the day. And I had said, I was like, so what am I supposed to do? And I guess I prayed that. And all of a sudden, I just kind of turned around, grabbed a pack of cigarettes. I didn't even smoke cigarettes at the time, because I guess I had to leave with something. And I'm on the phone with the sponsor. And my sponsor was busy. She said, call Pat right now. So I called Miss Pat. And she comes there in a jiff. And we meet. We get a meeting. We're sitting on the porch at one of the other clubhouses. And She told me I did a great job. I said, none of that was great. I told you what I told that man to do, right? I told that man what to do, how to do it, how I needed him to do it, where he should stick this and how he should stick. I went off. I threw 13 pans on the floor because I needed everybody in that restaurant to know I was leaving the building. I was like, Miss Patton, none of that was good. And she had said, yes, you found your higher power today. And you stayed sober. But now it's a higher power that you can call your own. And another spiritual experience, I was like, oh. And then that had made it to where I could pray to my own higher power. And that was when I had finished the steps with them, and I got to sponsor another. And that also catapulted my sobriety. Bringing another woman through those steps, the way my sponsor brought me through those steps, was just the amazing feeling. Same feeling I had when those girls all got up and in unison had said that serenity prayer. I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know it's a 1 day at a time program, and a lot of times it's still 1 hour at a time. But I know that this is what I'm meant to be doing for the rest of my life. I know I'm supposed to be helping other women because that helps me and that makes me feel good. And who doesn't want to feel good? You know, I think that's pretty much why we drank and why we did all the other things we did, was to change the way we felt. And today I get to change the way I feel by helping another and seeing the type of friends that I have today. I have people that genuinely love me. I have people today that no matter how bad of a day I'm having, I could be in my car bawling my eyes out over some future tripping. Stuff that's not even happening yet, and I'm freaking out. And I'm laughing within 15 minutes, or singing a song, or, I would have never thought that girl that was popping and getting fired from 3 strip clubs in 1 day, 3 DUIs, 3 husbands, all of that crazy madness. To today, I get up and I'm just like, God, who can I help today? How am I going to be of help today? Please help me not be selfish just for an hour, because I know I'm going to be praying this again, because I am still a selfish, self-centered person. It comes back to that every time. But I know today that I can stop what I'm doing, reset my day, call a friend, call the sponsee sister, and I know they show up for me. They show up for me and they show out for me. I have friends today that I didn't know, even some of my friends I didn't even know 2 years ago, and now I know I wouldn't want to go another day without knowing them, because that's just the way this program works for me. And another miracle is I did end up going back to school to be a personal trainer this time, because going in the kitchens, in and out of the kitchens, and then I wanted to change my career again, and now I want to be a server. I had started working out and realized that was a really healthy outlet. And what started out as just trying to get through a breakup ended up being a whole new life that had opened up for me. And how I decided I wanted to even do that was because I had one of the girls that I was working with at, I think it was Cheddar's. She was like, you go to the gym. She's like, I'm so scared of the gym. She was like, I can't go in there. She was like, I got a membership at this place. She's like, but I get to the parking lot and I go to get in, and I can't go in. She was like, would you go with me? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't know a lot about it, but I can show you what I know. So we did. We did some cardio and I did this. And I remember showing her this one machine, either any machine USA, and the little pins that you put down. And I would get a little like, ooh, and I could put the pin down a little heavier this time, a little heavier that time. So, and I was telling her about it and how the little pins work, because I had just learned how they worked. So I'm showing her the little bit that I know. She was like, oh, I can't do that. She was like, that's going to be way too heavy. I can't. And I was like, or you could try it and then tell me whether you can or can't. So we did. We put that pin down one more, and she did it. And her face lit up. She was like, I says, look at you, see how strong you are? And that just dawned on me. I was like, the same thing when I bring a sponsee through the steps and that light comes on in their head because they realized something or they came to believe something. And I was like, that's kind of the same thing that I'm doing here, but I could probably help others and probably make a couple bucks doing it. So I was like, all right. And so I had asked, it was a couple months, I probably bored people talking and asking them, should I? Which one should I do? There's so many different certifications you can get, and finally my sponsor was like, just pick one and do it. Just do it. What's the worst that can happen? You learn actually the right way to do the working out. And she says, best case scenario, you do great and you make a lot of money. Worst case, you just realize, thank you so much for that, because I didn't even need to tell you. I didn't even need to go into the working out part. But anyway, so I had gone through the certifications. I took the certifications and I had passed. That was such a hard road. So many plans canceled because I got to go home and study. Couple jobs, plus school, stress, crazy. But when I had passed that test, I was like, holy cow, I can do just about anything I put my mind to. And I realized that was, all these little things that I'm realizing that I can do. And then I'm actually coming to realize, I was like, boy, I really did think pretty low of myself back then. I didn't think I could do a lot of things until I just did it. And thankfully, the sponsors that I had, they're like, just stop talking about it and do it. Stop saying I'm trying to trust my higher power and just do it. And that's kind of my prayer every morning today, just to stop trying and just to do. And I thank you guys. Thank you for asking me to come up here.